Hi there everybody, I do hope that you're doing well. The Ys series is easily one of my favorite action RPGs of all time. It's really up there with like the Mana series, Tales, Star Ocean, and Crystallis as just absolute classics. I mean, it is the great granddaddy of action RPGs after all, first coming out when I was 5 years old all the way back in 1987. And I am happy to say that just like me, Adol is still going strong. Although in his games, he alternates his age and he's 17 now and I'm still 42, so that sucks, but whatever. So anyway, here I want to tell you all my thoughts on my experiences with this remaster of a remake, I suppose, and I really do think that is definitely worth a sub, as I do try my hardest at 100,000 subscribers. With your help, your like, and your sub, I just know that I can get there. So thank you so much for that, I really do highly appreciate it. And as I said before, 2025 is definitely the year of both remakes and remasters, but this kind of takes the cake because, it's a little bit of both. So let's dive right on in. Let's begin here with a little history lesson. As I said before, this is a remaster of a remake. The original game was Ys 3 Wanderers from Ys, which released back in 1989 for the PC, TurboGrafx-16, Sega Genesis, and SNES. As this was the first Ys game to be released on a Nintendo system, it was also my first exposure to the series. I do remember renting it from Video Wonderland after reading about it in Nintendo Power, thinking that it would be great, but after getting my hands on it, not really liking it all that much. And apparently, I was not alone in that, as it was widely regarded as the black sheep of the series. After returning it to the rental store, I didn't get back into the series until Ys 6 Arc of Nepishtim released on the PS2, as that really was the next one that released on a console that I actually owned and in the West. And it was really there that I truly fell in love with the Ys series, and after that, I went back and I replayed all the games that I missed through the power of translation. Anywho, let's fast forward all the way to 2010, because that's when Falcom started going hog wild by releasing a ton of their games on the PSP, including the Ys 3 remake, Oath in Felghana. And it was through this remake that Ys 3 went from being a black sheep to a cult classic. They really did the game justice here, and now it has been remastered for home consoles with additional quality of life features, such as 5 different difficulty levels, additional voice acting for Adol, in both English and Japanese, so he's no longer silent, remastered high-definition visuals and music, as well as more accessibility options, including a turbo mode and brand new character illustrations. This here is definitely the definitive way to play this game. Another cool thing is that you can play the classic mode insofar as seeing the original character portraits or listening to the 3 different versions of the soundtrack, if you want to. As far as the story is concerned, it does pick up immediately following the events of Ys 1 and 2. Adol and Dogi leave Asteria, and they make their way over to Dogi's hometown of Redmont, which is in the Ys equivalent of Germany. Don't think that you have to have played the first 2 games to understand what's going on here though, because you don't. Yeah, there will be some Easter eggs and other whatnots that you'll pick up on if you did play the other games in the series. However, every single Ys game tells its own self-contained story, so you really can pick up wherever you'd like to. So if you want to start here, have at it. It's a great place to start. The earlier Ys games have never been all that long, and the original SNES game only lasted about 5 or so hours. And while more content has definitely been added to this version, you could still easily beat it in a good 10 to 15 hours. This here tells the story of Dogi's childhood friend Elena, her wayward brother Chester, and the evil Count Maguire extorting the people of Felghana. So of course, you have to go on in and figure out what's going on and save the day. And while the original Ys 3 did feature combat more reminiscent of Zelda 2 Link's Adventure, this here opts for a traditional viewpoint first introduced back in Ys 6, with super fun fast-paced combat. And whenever I say fast-paced, I definitely mean it, because this is the name of the game. Each time that you attack and you kill a monster, you'll gain experience. The more that you kill the monsters, the more experience multipliers that you get. However, the second that you are done attacking, that experience multiplier meter will go down and start depleting, so you gotta haul your little booty over to the next area and continue kicking ass and taking names in order to keep the experience multiplier high. That's not the only benefits that you'll be getting from combat though, as enemies will be dropping herbs, gold, strength and defense potions, and those strength and defense potions will also act as multipliers that will go down at a steady clip until you do get more of those potions. So it really does behoove you to keep on moving your ass and elbows and fighting off the little monsters to keep you as strong as humanly possible for as long as humanly possible.
While you're exploring the dungeons, there are also some puzzle-like mechanics, such as lighting torches to make platforms move or appear, or breaking down walls, or all sorts of other little platforming things. But don't be scared about this, because I am notoriously bad at platforming games, and I had no problems making all the jumps or anything else like that. So if this old, arthritic, dried up little twink can do it, y'all can too, I promise you. In addition to the just normal attacking and all that kind of stuff, you can jump and do upper thrusts and down thrusts, again, just like in Zelda 2. There's also essentially like a limit break meter that will slowly raise up the more that you fight, and you can activate it at will to increase your attack and defensive powers, as well as your combo rate. You can also cast a variety of different magical spells from fireballs and whirlwinds and all that other kind of stuff, and the magic will be getting upgraded by gems that you find in the dungeons, and your equipment is also upgraded in the same way. Not only that, you can stop off in town to the blacksmith to further power up your equipment that you do find. That does cost some gold and Ravel ore, which you'll discover as you explore all the multitudes of dungeons. Now, this game is available for the PS4, the PS5, and the Nintendo Switch. And just so that you're aware, I played this on the Switch, and all the footage that you see here is from my Nintendo Switch. And I was really pleasantly surprised because there was no lag or any kind of loading times or anything really. The Switch version played perfectly fine. But that's definitely to be expected, as this is still, at the end of the day, just a remaster of a PSP game. And nothing really drove that home more than seeing all those little smiley faces over the NPCs' heads. That gave me some Gag Harvest Trilogy flashbacks. Yeah, all the Falcom games look like that back on the PSP with the little smiley faces. A couple of things that I was surprised about though, was that even though that they did go to the trouble of remastering this game and adding in some additional bells and whistles here and there, they didn't add in some smaller, more common quality of life features. Features like a mini-map, or showing you the next NPC that you have to talk to in order to move the story along, or where the treasure chests are located, or something like that. And because of this becomes one of those games where even though you might know that you have to go to the Ilburn's ruins next, those ruins won't be open until you go and you talk to the nun at the church first. But again, there's no indicator as far as who you need to go talk to in order to trigger that next event. So in between every single major story event, you pretty much have to go around town and talk to everybody just to make sure that you trigger the event. Also, maybe I'm spoiled, but I was expecting the save points to double as warp points, like in the newer Ys games. But they don't. They're just save points and fast travel doesn't exist. Now, this is not the biggest deal because again, this is a remake of an SNES game, and a rather short SNES game at that. This isn't massive like the world of Ys 8 or anything, so while it doesn't take you forever to backtrack, it's still annoying that you have to. All that being said though, I did have a fantastic time with Ys MEMORIE Oath of Felghana, which is releasing tomorrow on January the 7th. If you've never played the Ys series before, or you just got into it recently and you want to go on back and see what the series is all about, then you definitely want to go and check this game out. However, I'm just going to put this out there and tell you flat on out, if you played this game back on the PSP like I did, there's really no reason for you to go on back and revisit this. Yeah, there's some new portraits and music and stuff, but by and large it's still 99% the exact same game that you played back on the PSP. So unless you're like an Ys superfan, there's really no reason for it. Although I will say the collector's edition is pretty frickin' sweet, so you might want to grab it just for that. So that's it for my review of Ys MEMORIE The Oath of Felghana, releasing for the PS4, PS5, and Nintendo Switch. So now, I do want to ask you, how do you feel about the Ys series, and which games in the series are your favorites, and are you going to be picking this one up? Let's all talk and chat about it in the comments. And if you like this video, here's another video that I really do think that you're going to enjoy, so please do be sure to check that one out. But before you go, be sure to leave a like and a comment. And as always, have a good day.